We like to begin the Trumbull Veterans First Responder Meeting Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time. We have a roll call of members, please.
Ray Baldwin.
Here.
Bruce Silverstone.
Here.
Dan Sacco.
Here.
Michael Lombardo.
Here.
Steve Lemoyne. Mary Beth Thornton.
Here.
Preston Merritt.
Here.
Oh, good. Got everybody. Thank you. At this time, next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody from the public that would like to say anything?
If there are members of the public who would like to speak, just press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen, or if you're on the phone, press *9. It does not appear that anybody wishes to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Then we'll close public comment. Next item on the agenda is discussion and vote on the minutes of our August 27th, 2020 meeting. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Motion to accept, Mary Beth.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, minutes pass. All right, the first, next item on the agenda is the presentation of the revised floor and site plan by Wiles and Associates. George, are you all set to go?
All set to go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Okay, can you see our screen, the site plan?
Yep.
Everyone can?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with the site plan. We have 3 schemes to show you. And we'll start with the site plan so that you can see the building's location stays the same. Katz's Pond doesn't move. And the parking area is essentially in the same location, but we're expanding it out to the north, to the northeast. The gray area is the parking area that's currently exists. And then over to the right of the screen, we're saying by our site observations, there seems to be a small retaining wall at the foot of that steep ledged area. It looks like we have the opportunity to push in a little bit and pick up some cars. So doing that, the existing parking lot can be expanded, and so we'll be up to 64 cars, which includes 2 handicap spots very close to the front. We've got a dumpster location over at one side, away from the building, and once we get the survey, we'll fine tune this. Currently, we've released the surveyor and the topographic and meets and bounds survey should be back either the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And that also includes staking of the wetlands and mapping of the wetlands. So that's an activity that's going on out in the field currently. And we've asked them to survey the entire piece of property. So that's it for the site plan. I don't know if there's any questions on the site plan.
I have one. So George, that dumpster's pretty prominent, right? I mean, it's almost the first thing that someone sees when they drive in. And I know it creates an issue for folks to move it around to the other side for people who are cooking or, preparing and have to carry out garbage. But I mean, that seems like a heck of a thing to have to, for the first thing for folks to see when they drive in. I mean, does anybody else feel like that?
You put a fence around it?
Yeah, there is a wooden fence enclosure around it. You'll see it when we, why don't we jump to the 3D?
Before you jump ahead for that, did you consider any parking along the roadway?
I did not include, the 64 cars does not include any parking along Veterans Circle, none.
Okay. Would that be, I think that might be something we want to look at to see whether it's possible or not to get at least parking on one side of the road.
So currently, just by our field observation, that road
Yeah, there's another drink in.
between 24 and 26 feet wide.
Okay,
A street with parking on both sides would be 32 feet, parking on one side would be 28 feet. So when we get the survey, we'll evaluate the feasibility of getting parking along that road. When we walk the site, there are several locations, especially above the spillway, that the road comes very close to the slope. So we'll determine that once we get the survey.
okay, very good, thank you.
So if we can go to the 3D, and if we can zoom in, and yeah, let's take a look at that dumpster. So the dumpster does have no problem. So the dumpster does have an enclosure around it. In addition to that, we reinforce this with planting evergreens to shield it. I think Bruce's comment that it's in a pretty obvious location is a comment, and we'll have to address that with an attractive enclosure and also some planting. Sort of resisting taking it to the other side because it is such a long walk, and knowing the way caterers, all respect to caterers, but they're in a rush. The party's over, it's dark, they're tired. Really don't want to have any garbage laying around for long periods of time. So that's the reason we located it here. And that brings me to another comment. If we can go back to the floor plan, and not yet. So let's go to the floor plan. And this is the scheme that we showed you before. And this scheme has the kitchen on the entrance side of the road. There was a request to flip it, 180 degrees, flip it over to the other side. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is that that's where all the services are. So it would have a cost impact. Would it break the budget? Probably not. But that's the reason we located all the kitchen and the mechanical rooms on this end of the building. So unfortunately, the entrance to the site is also the utilitarian part of the building, but I don't think it looks too bad. So if you recall, we have the gathering room. You asked us to eliminate one classroom, which we did. You asked us to add a commander's office, which we did. There's a manager's office also. You asked us to add a family bathroom that can double as a bride's room. We did. This scheme plays off of the last scheme that we did, and we're hovering around 5,000 square feet. Let me go through them all, and then we can lap back and comment on them. And scheme number two. Scheme number two, the difference in this scheme is that we've taken the bathrooms away from the lobby and put the office spaces off the lobby. So we have the commander's office to the left, and we have, to the right, and we have also two offices, one small and one a little bit larger. We introduced some storage for chair storage, a custodian closet. The kitchen and the grill stay the same. And the radical change in this one is that we've moved the bathrooms over to the right, over to the classroom area. and created the family bathroom and men's and women's room there off of a corridor that's common to the two classrooms. We've kept the classrooms with folding partitions so that the gathering room is about 125 people, and then you get an additional about 45 people with the two classrooms in total. The third scheme is a radical change. We've taken the gathering room, if you flash back, Anna, to there, we've taken the gathering room, which is horizontal, which is along Katz's Pond, and we've rotated it 90 degrees. And that shortens up the building a little bit. We've shifted the vestibule over in the lobby. We've got the commander's office down in the corner with some storage. The operators, the manager's office is off the lobby. And again, the men's and the women's room is down near the classrooms. I think we can fly you around in all three of these. Let's start with this one. This is scheme number 3. And if you just walk around, there's the commander's office with a glass wall looking out onto Katz's Pond. You can see the gathering room is glass going out. As we go around, the entrance is glass, and the entrance of the gathering room has visibility from the parking area. And again, it's a see-through visionary that goes right out to Katz's Pond when you approach the building. The fly around for scheme 2 is similar, but not the same. It might take a little while to load. Okay, so this is the fly around for scheme 2. And this is the horizontal the horizontal is at Katz's Pond. You get more glass area as we orbit around. We see the front entrance again. It is announced, and we move in. And in this one, we're able to get the gathering room gable end with a look through right out to Katz's Pond. So you'll be conscious of that with glass on both sides. And then the last one, orbiting around that one, and this one, we orbit around this guy. And once again, it's the long dimension of the room is on Katz's Pond. And we spin that around. And
George, can you hold that for 1 second? Can you back it up a little bit? You know, I'm going back to this again. So the view from the front of the building is looking right at the dumpster. I mean, that's absurd to me. And I hate to be the one who keeps on picking on this and bringing this up. You know, I think that your reason, George, for putting it there versus the other side is because it's a long walk for the caterers. I'd say it's okay to let them walk, and if they leave food out that they shouldn't leave out, they'll be told that they can't come back and use and operate in this facility. I just think it should not be there. It shouldn't be the first thing that people see when they drive in, and we shouldn't have to stare at it from the front of the building.
Currently, the dumpster location is over to the right. So to your point, we could move it. There's nothing tied to that. The only reason we put it there is that, you know, that was the functioning part of the building. If we push it over to the other end with an enclosure, I don't think that's a.
I guess I'd ask the rest of the.
I think it's
other
George, to Bruce's point, I'm familiar with Tashua Knolls, and they have their kitchen on the back of the building there, and the dumpsters are way at the other end of the parking lot, well away from the building, so you don't see it. So I think by moving it over to the far right, you know, it may be a little inconvenient for them, but I agree. We don't want to be looking at a dumpster enclosure going into this facility. So I think if we can move it out where the Connex box is now, which is off in this picture here, well off to the left, that should work out okay. That'd be fine.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah,
Okay.
we can move it there, or we can move it all the way to the end like it is at Tashua.
Well, I would put it, you know, again, how well you can shield it. You know, listen, let's look at the design of the building. We can always move this later. I don't like it there either particularly, so.
Yeah, we can definitely move that. That's a good comment. No doubt about it, it can move.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments to this point?
Well, my only question is the three different designs, George. Are any of them involved with moving plumbing or any of the areas which is going to drive up costs in one of them over the others?
No, the costs are about all the same.
Okay, so the only choice is which design.
We're hovering about 5,000 to 5,100 square feet. So we're right there.
And so it's on the current property, so we're not expanding. Before we were expanding, so we're not expanding, we're not doing any of that, and we're just using existing space, and all three of these designs fit that space. Okay.
George, one other question. Personally, I'm more inclined to either design one or two. I don't like the look of the elongated hall, but we can discuss that later. Do any of these involve a basement, or at least partial basement?
All the designs will include a partial basement. The extent of that basement, I will know in probably about 10 days I just forwarded these three schemes onto our engineers. And once the committee gives us a direction on which one they'd like to go with, then I can turn the structural engineers loose on determining where's the best place to put the basement.
All right, so I have a question. As you come in the entryway, you have an office. As we're looking at this picture, you have an office to the left. I assume that's for whoever's going to be running the building, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The one on the right, the other one, the smaller one to the right, what is that for?
What I picked up at the last meeting was that the post commander wanted a conference room and also a private office for 2 desks.
Okay.
I thought that was the commander's office.
You know,
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
if it helps at all, okay. No, never mind. Disregard.
Yeah, so that would be the commander's office, and then we'll add a door there, and then that would be the post commander's conference room.
Gotcha. Okay.
So is that conference room available to anyone?
Sure.
I'm sorry?
It could be, it depends on how you manage the building and what's in there.
So, I mean, I wouldn't think that would just be for them, is it, Ray? The commander?
we really haven't discussed that, but I think they wanted a small conference room.
I mean, why couldn't they use any other room in the facility? I mean, why do they need their own conference room?
How many people fit in that room? It doesn't look that big.
How many seats is there? Is that 6?
6 and 1 at either end, that's 8. Not a big room, so how many square feet is it? 150 square feet, not a big room.
No. Yeah, I think they're going to want to, the commanders are going to want to hang, pictures and other things on the walls and have a little privacy for this. I don't see an issue with that. So, does anybody else have any comments thus far?
This is the scheme that we favor, that we would recommend.
Yeah.
Wiles Architects.
This is Mary Beth. I favor this scheme over the others because of the way it's the orientation to the pond. And going back to the dumpster a little bit, I also want to vote to move the dumpster. I don't know where you're thinking about moving it, but if we're going to move it to the other side and it's going to be downwind from that little nice patio, the purple patio, we also have to think about that.
Good point.
We'll find a spot for that. That's not where certainly not where it is, and certainly not where it's going to cause a problem with odor. So,
I have, this is Preston. I too agree with the plan that we're looking at. I have two questions. One, it looks like there's a small stairway out to the deck. Would that be readily accessible to the public? And my other comment or question is with regard to the parking lighting. Is that planned in there, or is it going to be needed?
Yes,
Outdoor lighting.
yes.
Okay. So question number one, then let's go back to that one.
Okay, so the deck, that is stairs off the deck. There's two ways to get off the deck. One on the left from the stairs down, and then over on the right off of the patio out to the parking lot.
Okay.
Okay, off the patio to the parking lot, is that a ramp? So it's handicap accessible?
It is handicap accessible, and what's happening is that the parking lot drops to the edge of the pond 6 feet. So what happens is that that would be a level sidewalk, but the grade would be dropping off.
Okay, nice.
Hey, George, the gray area above classroom 1 and 2, where it says 240 square feet, that's just a hallway, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all the gray areas are hallways, even on the other side, the 24, 48 feet or whatever it is, 43.
So if I'm sorry.
Steve Lemoyne, do you have any comments? Steve, we're having trouble with your audio. Steve, we're still having some difficulty with the audio.
While we're waiting, a question I have is, will there be any kind of gates on the deck, or will anybody be able to get up on the deck at any time?
Right now, anybody can get up on the deck at any time. To be honest with you, Bruce, I haven't even thought about that. We could devise some kind of security, I guess. But right now, the concept is it's open.
Yep. I mean, that's, you know, in a perfect world, that's a great thing. Do we want to leave it open? I guess is the question. Do we see that as an issue?
There's a part of me that wants to keep it open. There's another part of me that says, you know, we shouldn't be making it so inviting that anybody just walks in and goes up on the deck of the building.
And has their own party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's a beautiful place. Do we want to, just because it's a beautiful place, do you want to say the public can't use it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? That's why we have the police chief on the committee to make recommendations for security. All right. So, Steve, if you can hear me okay, can you call me on my cell phone, and then I can sort of hook you in that way, kind of backdoor it, so you can be heard? All right, I'm going to try calling him. Give me a second. Let me see if I can reach him.
George, nice job on all of these.
Bruce,
Okay, can you hear me?
we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to put you on speaker.
You're great.
Okay. All right, Steve is going to be on my phone. So go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so I was trying to say, I think design number 2 is the best. It has a great flow to it. the offices right up front, so that anybody coming into the building doesn't have to go looking for the offices.
Okay. Has everybody that wants to be heard been heard on this? All
George,
right, why don't we,
George, can you show the fly around again on this one,
On scheme number 2, sure.
Yeah. please?
Sure.
That's it.
So from the front, I mean, it looks great. On the front left side, looks like a big area without any windows on that, on that whole area. Is there any way to maybe break that up with something?
Yes, yes. It's another good comment. You know, that's, that surface is unresolved. We'll have to do something there to break it up. That's where the bathrooms are.
Yeah.
So there's no opportunity for windows. So we'll either put the flag medallion there, or we'll introduce some of the green, the olive painted material to break it up.
Yep, great.
okay. So we can go by a vote on option, we'll go 1 through 3. We'll start with option 1. By a roll call, who's in favor of option 1? I'm in favor of option 1. Anybody else? Okay, option 2.
Ray, I'm in favor of 2. Steve,
All right, Steve is on option 2.
I'm option 2. Dan.
What's that?
Option 2 for Dan.
Option 2 for Dan.
Option 2 for Preston.
Option 2 for Preston. Mary Beth.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Option 2.
Option 2. Okay, let's. Could you
Option
do,
2.
All right, can you do? Is this option 2 right? This is option 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my mistake. I'm changing my vote to option 2. I was thinking of option 1. My mistake. So it looks like Steve, you're voting for voting for what option?
Option 2.
Option 2. It's unanimous, folks. We have it.
Great.
We have a design subject to some minor changes, removal of the dumpster to another location, which we'll work on.
And George, this is the one you recommend, right?
This is the one that we recommend.
Perfect.
Excellent. Good choice. Good choice. Thank you.
All right, this is good because this now engages the whole team for our mechanical, electrical, plumbing consultants, our site consultant, and our structural consultants. So we'll add to the team, and we'll be reporting back on all those systems.
Okay, George, I have as part of your agenda item discussion of next steps. So that is the next step, engaging the rest of your team.
Yes.
Okay.
They're already engaged because we signed a contract, and I've signed a contract with my team members. But I have only sent them this information, these schemes for information. I haven't authorized them to go into their design. They're gathering some, basic information, getting familiar with it. But now that we have the committee's blessing on option number 2, we'll ramp up their input.
Excellent. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of George or his team about next steps?
I just have one comment. This is Mary Beth. I think I'm the only female, so y'all probably know who I am, right? The overhang for admitting people, if it's raining or snowing or we're having bad weather, Is there any way to expand that, George, or is that poor design?
Thank you, Mary Beth, for bringing that up. So, because of the location of this, we're going to have, we're recommending, we're going to design 2-foot overhangs for the entire building that will be gutterless and drop into a gravel trench drain around the building to handle the stormwater that comes off the roof. Because there's nothing worse than gutters and backing up and ice. And with all the leaves and so forth in that area, we don't think gutters is a good option. In addition to that, we're taking a look at, in front of the vestibule, if you can go to the 3D and this option, we're taking a look at expanding that out so that there is the ability to walk underneath a covered overhang before the entrance.
That's exactly what I was thinking, George. And although I'm not an architect, I was thinking you can break up that wall to the left by extending your waiting area. No?
We can. I'm just trying to be very jealous about the 5,000 square feet.
I see.
Because I just want to make sure that we hit the budget.
Well, I'm not talking about an indoor waiting area. I'm just talking about some sort of overhang to protect people from rain or snow.
Yeah, we can expand that. We can expand that gable end. We have room to get a larger area so people can gather underneath it. We'll take a look at that.
Like an awning or a tent, Mary Beth?
Excuse me?
Like an awning or a tent? Kind of
No,
thing?
not an awning. No, not an awning. Just like think about when you're walking into a Stop and Shop, there's an area where you can walk in where you're protected from the weather before you actually hit the doors.
So expand that roof line out so a car can pull up underneath it and let people out. And stay
Gotcha.
dry, and then they
Dave?
can go and park the car.
See,
Yeah.
the chief understands me. There you go.
Yeah. Yes, we'll take a look at that and we'll incorporate that into the revision.
I think that would be a great idea,
Yeah,
particularly
it'd be real
for some of our older veterans who have a little difficult time getting around.
Okay. Are there any other comments? Okay. Moving on to the next item. We have discussion and a vote on Wiles Associates invoice that was revised September 15, 2020. George, can you walk us through that invoice and then we can ask our questions?
Sure. So I've sent 2 invoices, one at the beginning of September and one just a couple of days ago, which represents us completing our schematic design phase. And in our contract, our payment is broken down by phases. The schematic phase, the design development phase, the construction document phase, bid negotiation phase, construction administration phase. We've completed the schematic design phase, and that's defined as we've defined the size of the building and the scope of the project, and now we're ready to develop that design in the next phase. So we've met our contractual obligation in completing that and presenting it to the committee, and we've invoiced for only that phase.
Okay.
Who has the invoice? Does Kevin have it? Has Kevin?
No. So how this works when Dan gets involved is any invoice that comes across or any payments for any services that George brings up that may not be part of it, the committee votes on it like we do on the other committees. Once the committee agrees to pay, or maybe they want to challenge something, whatever, but if they agree to pay, Ray will sign the invoice and then send it to myself. And then we'll apply it to the PO for payment.
Okay, how much is each invoice?
Can you put them up, George, or no?
I don't have them up, but it's $27,750.
But broken down, right?
It's in another program.
Is that broken down? You said you had 2, one beginning September, one second. Are they different? We'll have to sign 2 different ones.
Yeah, the 2 add together are $27,750, and which is exactly the figure that's in the purchase order and in the contract.
Does anybody have any questions of George on the invoice?
The 27 750 covers the design that you did and all of the work to date, right?
Correct.
And Kevin, the contract calls for that amount
The
for,
contract calls from the day we signed the contracts and hired him as letter of award, all the work he did from that day on, nothing previous, that day till today.
and it's for that figure, right?
Correct. I don't have the, I think we asked for a little breakdown in the invoice. Did we not, George? I thought we did, of certain items or a little more detail to the invoice.
I'm not sure, what,
I know when it came across, there was a question from Dan, there was a question from, and Dan on the, I'm sorry, on the committee here, and some, not concerns, but some, just want a little breakdown of the stuff, because they had the breakdown of the contract, but just a breakdown of exactly what you did, of the schematics and stuff. That's all. And I think that's what they were asking for, some kind of detailed in it. I saw one, I didn't see two invoices. I remember.
I saw the second one that was
Right.
more detailed. The first one was just a number.
Correct.
But the second one he sent out had detail in it.
All right, George, can you send me both of them? And then, actually, Ray, you have them? Yes or
I'll
no?
see if I can locate them, yes.
If not, you come to my office and you can sign it here if the committee votes on yes to pay.
Yeah, okay.
So I have a question, and maybe it's my misunderstanding. So this 27,000 represents payment for only work that's taken place since the contract was signed. I thought it included the work that, since now you have the project, you're going to entitled to get paid for the work that you've done prior. That doesn't include that?
does not include it. That work was pro bono.
Correct. We cannot pay for stuff that wasn't a town project before it started. I think Jim Nugent's on. He'll explain that. I've talked to Rena. So everything that George has done since the award to this day, I believe, is the 27. I did see the invoice. Like I said, I only seen one though. I didn't see two. So
Yeah, I think some of the committee members raised some concerns about not having more detail. And George, I believe he provided a more detailed copy. I think most everybody got it, I thought.
let me see. I'm going to shoot you.
Am I the only one that got the second one?
I got the second one also, but it's on another computer.
Yeah.
I got it too. Kevin Bova, if you have it, maybe you can share your screen with us.
Oh, is that tech savvy? I have it here.
Yeah, the second one?
I have one that's dated, and it has to be the first one. It's one line item, 915, schematic design services. It says 27.50 per hour, probably 0.50, comes out to 13,875. And and if I could show you the invoice, I would. Actually, I could probably email it to you right now, all of you.
Kev, if you hit at the bottom of your screen, hit the share screen button. That'll bring up a window. And then pick the document that you want to display and then hit the share button.
Let's see.
Thanks,
Share
Bill.
screen. And then I want to share. Did I do it?
Yes.
I got one for 13,875. There's
No, not really. Where?
no, that isn't it.
No.
The one that says 915. Are you looking?
So this invoice is for the schematic design phase, where we identified the value of the schematic design phase is 27,750, and at this particular time, March 15th, we were 50% done, so we invoiced for 50% of it. We did present scheme number one to the committee, and then subsequent to that, we finished two more schemes, and we invoiced the committee for the remainder of the schematic design phase. So currently what's payable and due is $27,750, which is in accordance with our contract and is also in accordance with the purchase order that's been issued through Kevin.
George, this is Preston. This is the amount that is in the contract. Will you be, there's some more work that you're going to be doing to accommodate what our request today. Is there going to be an extra on top of that for that work?
No. What the committee did tonight is they approved the schematic design, and we'll move forward into the next phase, which is the design development. Those revisions that we're talking about right now are included in our base fee.
Okay.
So
Okay,
phase
so-
2 is coming next, right, George?
Next, pardon me?
Is phase 2 coming next then? Phase
Yeah.
1?
Yeah, the design development phase is, we will begin tomorrow. And then at the end or the middle of October, depending on how fast we can get our consultants working, we'll invoice you as we progress with the design up to the end of the design development phase, and then ask for your approval before we go into the next phase. So you're kind of in the driver's seat all the way along.
Okay, this is Mary Beth and George. I'd like to recommend, you're talking about different phases. It would be helpful for the committee if you sent us a list of the phases, just a general list, so that we can all follow along and be on the same page. That would be very helpful. So, you know, when you're using those titles, we're all understanding where we were and where we're going.
I'd be happy to do that.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the invoice of Wiles Associates for the design phase?
Motion to accept.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Although, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. All right,
Thank
the next item on the agenda is an update on the STEEP grant by Rena Bacalar. Rena?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So I was hoping that by today's meeting that we would have received word from the state as to whether or not we were granted, because initially they were supposed to make the awards mid-September. However, we received a correspondence from the State Office of Policy and Management that they were a few weeks behind that schedule, and that we would hear sometime in the end of September. And Ray and I almost thought it could be today, but it wasn't, or in early October. So I don't have an outcome to our grant, but you know that from our last meeting that we filed a request. We learned during the process that the state had capped the grants down to roughly $1,000. So what we did, Ray and I brainstormed on it, and we decided, and we think it probably is actually a benefit to us long-term, we decided to propose it as a phase 1 project where design and then the demolition of the building and some earthwork site prep were part of phase 1. And we applied suggesting that because we have to show in order to access the funding that the project is complete. So if we're talking about the entire project as one phase, certainly we couldn't meet that criteria, right? So we're able, by breaking into phases, to show that there's a beginning and end of this phase of the project, and that the money that we have for design from the town and through this grant is adequate to complete this phase of work. So that's how we proposed it. We're waiting to hear on it, and I will certainly let Ray know, and Mary Beth and Kevin, if anything, you know, and they'll let you all know, and Chief, you know, if we get an award soon. Any questions?
Does that allow us to go back and request additional funding for a next phase?
if there's a competitive steep grant in the future, we could certainly apply for it again. However, I think that we are going to regroup with our legislative delegation. Pardon my dog barking. He hasn't barked all night, and when I'm talking, he starts barking. I'm sorry. We have had some broader conversation with our legislative delegation, and we're interested in pursuing some other state dollars, potentially, in the future. So that's our next step after that. So yes, we could apply for more steep funds, and yes, we can apply for other state funding.
Yeah, Bruce, you raise a good point. I think for now, we're going to move forward, obviously, with the steep grant we applied for. I think to have a serious conversation with the state people, we're going to have to wait till after this election's over, because all of them are running for re-election. So they're going to be in the midst of campaigns and the like, and I don't think we're going to get their full attention. So.
Yep.
All right, does anybody have any questions of Rena? Thank you, Rena, for staying on this. I appreciate it.
Yes, I just want to add, thank you very much, Rena, because this has been a little bit of dancing around different things, and we really appreciate your work.
No problem. I appreciate being included in the project. I consider it a privilege. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is there any other business that anybody would like to bring up? Okay, then I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, by the way, before I sign off, congratulations is in order. Steve Lemoyne has been nominated and elected to be the commander of Port 5 Naval Veterans, and so he's buying free rounds of drinks to the committee anytime you get down there, right, Steve?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great.
Great.
Oh, great.
All right.
Let's hope there's a St. Patrick's Day this year.
Yes.
That's always
All
a
right.
favorite stuff.
All right, now we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm making a adjourn.
Okay, Dan, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray.